So, last night I finally finished watching Gordon Ramsay's Bank Balance. And yeah, this is a bit of an interesting one because I'm basically giving my thoughts on a game show, which I've never done before and I don't think I'll ever do again, but here we go. So, yeah, the main reason I'm talking about this is obviously Gordon Ramsay. So, to be honest, the premise for Gordon Ramsay's Bank Balance is basically, as you can see here in the picture, there's basically a balance board where contestants have to answer questions on a category, and if they get the questions right, they can put a balance bar on the balance board. The uh, amount the balance bars are worth are determined by basically whatever they choose. So you can see in the background there's a stack of 5, which is worth 25 grand. There's a stack of 4 that's worth 16 grand, etc. The only caveat is because it's BBC, and the BBC game shows tend to be a lot harder, less forgiving, and don't give out as much money generally. And the reason for this is because it's the BBC, it's public funding, so they don't really have as much money to sort of like give out to contestant winners and that. So the amount is always a lot smaller, or it's always a lot harder. So with this, there are only really two ways to win the game. So basically, to win the game, you have to successfully balance all of the balance bars on the balance board, which without making it topple over. Which, yes, it seems simple enough. The only thing is you can't choose where the balance bars are placed. That is effectively is basically chosen at random. So you could have effectively at a point, the balance board is tipping particularly one way, and you get a square which is literally underneath the previous one, so it's going to topple over, etc., like that. Yeah, it is an interesting idea. Although, to be honest, stuff like this has probably been done on a game show before. And as I said, there's only two ways to really win this. One is to obviously complete the board, which, spoiler alert, in all 9 episodes and comic relief special, none of the contestants have. And in each episode, there's at least 2 lots of contestants. In one case, 3 lots. So yeah, in all those episodes, no one has successfully completed it. There have been a couple of occasions where they get down to like the last couple of questions, and in one case even the last question, and they fail at the last hurdle. And one of the problems is also if they get a question wrong, the bars turn red and they've lost that money, so the jackpot goes down, and they have to place a penalty bar on top of stacking all the bars. So if they do make it halfway through, they have the option to bank a stack, which basically means that if they get all the questions right in whatever stack they choose, they can bank that one stack so that no matter what happens, they get that money. So generally, a lot of the time, the contestants who get that far will bank a stack of either 9 grand or possibly 16 grand in some cases, and they go home with that. So yeah, the main thing about this is Gordon Ramsay. Now, Gordon Ramsay, I've said this when I told some friends and family about this. I went, Gordon Ramsay's hosting. They found that a bit odd, and it might seem on surface level to be a bit odd, but then again, in America, he's hosted The Late Show and various other TV shows in America. So yeah, it can make sense that why they bring him in. But he's not like obviously a normal game show host. He also says that this game show is apparently meant to be a family program, even though it came on at 9 o'clock at night. So yeah, I don't know why that's a family program, and because of this, we don't get the typical Gordon Ramsay foul-mouthed. It is toned down quite a bit in this, which is a shame. But the highlights of this is the banter he has with the contestants back and forth, and there is a lot of jabs at Gino D'Acampo, so much so that they actually have a montage of it at one point in the comic relief special. And if you're going to watch any episodes, watch the comic relief special, because they get Gino D'Acampo in and his son in as guests. And this, honestly, to be honest, they didn't. Gino D'Acampo and that didn't need to do the balance, but I think they literally could just have Gino D'Acampo and Gordon Ramsay bantering, throwing insults back and forth for the full episode. Because to be honest, it is really funny and really entertaining. To be honest, I think that's the kind of thing that just makes it. To be honest, it is pretty funny. I will also say the set of it weirdly looks like the shit Jodie Whittaker TARDIS set. It honestly does. I know it doesn't in this picture, but like seriously, it looks. It takes quite a lot of design cues from it, which I find really odd. But yeah, regardless of that, if you live in the UK, you can watch this. Obviously, all the episodes on BBC iPlayer in America. The only way you'll really get to watch this, I don't know if this will be airing on BBC America or not. If not, then I'm sure, there'll be ways to get either through a VPN or something like that. But I would recommend watching the comic relief special. To be honest, the other episodes, it's the same. It is just the same thing, so it's not really something you would binge watch. It's something, to kind of on in the background, kind of. Because I remember when the contestants were actually answering the questions, I would sort of drift out of it a bit. To be honest, the highlights of it is not actually the contestants winning or succeeding in that. The highlights are of how they interact with Gordon, and some of them do interact pretty well of him. There was a couple of middle-aged women who were on it, who, although they weren't on it for very long, I think they had sort of like the best banters with Gordon. So yeah, Bank Balance. Yeah, as a game show, not really that fussed on it. I don't really watch game shows, but Gordon Ramsay made me watch it. It gave me a reason to watch it, and it was entertaining. So yeah, am I up for Gordon Ramsay hosting more UK game shows? To us, I'd rather see more of him, Gino, and Fred travelling about and basically poking shit at each other. But anyway, that's it for this very different thoughts on watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.